Hey folks, this is Mike with a long shot. Today we are checking out the Tactical Sniper Series DMR Finale match for 2025. This was a really fun match and I had a great time shooting with some amazing shooters. I got a really good look at different styles for bolt gun and gas gun shooting, and I want to highlight some of those things that I think make these people really great shooters and consistent performers. I did pretty well myself. We'll be highlighting some head-to-head match footage for this long-range two-gun championship match. Should be really fun, and I do hope you learned something. Let's take a look. Let's go.
Hope everybody's doing well. Everybody ready to shoot?
Yeah.
This is probably one of the most diverse TSS matches I've ever put on the ground. I'll go ahead and tell you. The fields. I'm going to buy a beer for whoever cleans this match, I promise you.
Well, you heard the man. It's going to be a tough match today. A little colder than I expected. Somebody should make an app or something that'll tell you how cold it would be. That'd be awesome. Shooting the 6 max today to finish out the season. In the running for second of the series. I think first has been clinched, unfortunately, but overall sounds like it's gonna be a really tough match. I'm here with my buddies on squad 5, which is the most fun part. Gonna shoot a couple of blind stages, which is not normally my thing, but I'm confident that I know the rifle platform enough that I can estimate range, get rounds on target if the targets are generously sized. So we'll see how that goes. Overall, looking forward to it. Let's see how it goes. Get some match footage. Show some different rifle platforms today. Show you a little bit about how DMR matches go and why they're my favorite. Let's go. Here you're seeing me side by side with Josh Somerville, CEO of US Optics. Josh is a great shooter, really loves that 5.56. This was our second stage of the day. I didn't get the first stage, and here you can see I already have a malfunction. This was thankfully my only malfunction of the day, but running that 6 max in altered 6-arc magazines, I've been averaging about 1 malfunction a match. This stage is terribly difficult with the T-post not really offering a stable position at all. There were 2 targets at about 400 yards, and you had to hit them once each from 5 different positions, and then clear the pistol. Getting the bag set on the top of the T-post was tricky, and the T-post was so wobbly that your crosshairs are basically zooming through the target, and you got to try to time the shot on these, third size IPSC targets. It was very difficult, and unfortunately, most of the folks in my squad, actually nobody in the squad finished. However, just to show how difficult this stage was, even though I left 1 rifle target and all the pistol targets on for a total of 90 seconds of penalties, I still finished 17th overall for this stage out of a field of 69 shooters. Getting a stable position is really critical for this style of shooting long range. Any little bit of wobble in your crosshairs is really going to hurt you. But unfortunately, we discussed, and there was no way that we could find to get super stable on these T-posts. Here we're seeing Tommy Butler, a guy that's become a really good friend of mine over this past season. He's helped me out a ton with different tips and tricks. And I don't think I've been to a single match this season where Tommy hasn't come away with at least 1 trophy, most of the time multiple trophies. A couple of things that I think sets Tommy apart is that his hit ratio is extremely high. Obviously shooting the bolt gun with a, longer cycle time per round and longer mag reload time, that is absolutely critical. Here he's shooting a 6 Creed, and he gets his hits. This obviously was a difficult stage, as we talked about before, so a little odd to see Tommy not finish, but that's just another metric to show how difficult this stage was. Another thing that I'd like to show about Tommy and that I've realized is he's not moving super fast in between each stage, or in between each position, but he is moving with a purpose. Every little movement he does has a purpose, and he gets to his next position very efficiently. It was a pleasure to watch Tommy shoot this match, and again, unfortunately, another victim of the T-posts. Here we're seeing Patrick Johnson, and man, this guy can run a bolt. He runs that bolt so fast, if you were just listening, sometimes you would think he was shooting an AR with the rest of us. Patrick also gets his hits. His hit ratio is very high, and I had a great time talking with him, seeing him read Mirage and plan his wind going into his first shot. Here on the Clinton House, this range is notorious for interesting wind patterns, not necessarily following the overall meta wind pattern, and planning that first shot and your first hold on these long range stages is absolutely critical. He did a great job. You can see him running that bolt gun and moving from position to position here. All around great shooter, and it was a pleasure to watch him shoot and get a little bit of an insight inside of his process and how he plans that first shot. Here I am again head-to-head with Josh on another long-range stage. I think we were shooting out past 600 yards for this. We had 2 targets from 4 different positions on the rail. And here I'm going to pick on Josh a little bit, but we all do this, is he made a mental error and went to the second top rail before going to the bottom rail. That was a process error, and to get his hits, he had to adjust that. You know, those mental errors, we all make them. They just take time and they throw you off your game a little bit. Every second counts in a time plus match. So you can see we're shooting very similarly here as far as performance goes, but I pulled out ahead just due to the fact that I ran the process clean and didn't have to spend time doing another position build on the rail. This season has been great for me. I'm very meticulous about getting the process down, understanding the stage brief, and asking questions until I'm positive that I understand exactly how we're supposed to shoot it. I don't think I've made a single mental stage error this year, which has helped me to be very consistent. Every time you make a mental error like that or just misunderstand the stage brief and don't gain clarification, it eats up time and puts you further down in the standings. Nothing stellar about this performance from either of us, though, unfortunately, as I finished 12th overall in this stage and Josh finished 19th overall. Here's Tommy again, absolutely crushing it, getting his hits. Look how efficient he is between positions. And one thing I'd like to point out, I know this isn't the best view for it, but if you can picture as he shuffles around each time transitioning from target to target, look that his body is directly behind his rifle. That's absolutely critical. You don't want to have any side-to-side or extra external forces on your rifle because your body is not comfortably behind it. Throughout the day, you'll see all of us doing little micro shuffles of our feet. Looks a little silly, but that's the quickest way to get your body set and not just cant or twist the rifle over, leaving your body in a contorted position. That is not going to lend itself to consistent shooting and getting hits. So whether it's kneeling or standing or in the prone, you can see us shuffling to get our body directly behind the rifle, which helps us get a good quick sight picture and get those rounds on target. Tommy is also really smart using that bag on the pistol here, clearing the pistol faster than I did, and that's something I keyed in on later, is use all the props that you have at hand. Tommy finished this stage 12th overall. And here we are with Patrick starting us off on the longest range stage of the day. The furthest target here was 720, and I think the closest was around 600. And the targets, the 600-yard targets were a bit smaller, which made it challenging. The wind started to kick up from the right, and we were planning our wind. I'm not exactly sure what went on in Patrick's head, but I think he overcorrected for his first couple of wind holds and had to get dialed in there a little bit. Holding left edge was a little bit too much, so probably coming back towards the center of the target a few tenths of a mil. Once he got dialed in and figured out his wind hold, you can see him run through the rest of the stage. We had to shoot those 3 targets from 3 different positions on this tube, which wasn't too bad as far as stability goes. However, spotting your shots at 700 yards or your misses is critical to getting on target. And then here he is finishing up with a pistol, overall finishing 5th overall in this stage with a bolt gun against a ton of gas gun participants. Very awesome. Good job, Patrick. Here we're getting a look at myself on probably the second worst stage of the day for me, which made me very, very big sad because I should be a good long-range shooter and I was not getting my consistent impacts on these targets. I was easily hitting the 720, which was a full-size IPSC, but dropping down to the 600, the mid 600-yard targets that were smaller and canted, I could not see where I was hitting. I was starting with a good left edge hold due to the wind, and honestly, in retrospective, what I would have done a little bit differently here is actually come up with a real plan for my wind hold instead of just saying, I'll just hold left edge, it'll be fine. Now, I'm not 100% positive that the miss in the wind hold for me is what killed me here and caused me to have to reshoot each target a lot of times. Eventually, I was able to spot a little bit of splash in the bottom right corner of the dirt mound, bottom right edge of the target. So for some reason, I think my dope might have been off, or I had miscalculated my dope. I'm still not sure to this day why, but I was hitting low. So I went into it thinking the wind is going to get me, adding more wind, and then looking a little bit harder once I wasn't getting those hits, and finally able to see that I was low. So once I was holding off the left edge of the target and high, then I started getting my hits. Unfortunately, not enough time to finish the pistol, taking some more penalties and putting me down further for the day. Overall, I took 20 seconds of penalties, finished the stage 14th overall and 3rd in gas gun open overall, which again, big sad because I should be able to shoot in that wind really well, and that's what sets me apart on the field of shooters.
Blind rifle stage finished pretty good, 62 seconds. Now I'm just sitting here in the back of the RO's truck because we can't go back and tell everybody what they're gonna see. Toughest part, see that tiny little Isuzu? Toughest part was fitting my big behind in there, turning around, shooting out the back seat, then turning around, loading the pistol mag, shooting out the front windshield. But it was pretty cool stage. So been having a mediocre day, but this was a good stage, so let's turn it around. Let's go.
Now, I shot this stage really well, 62 seconds. That put me 4th overall and 3rd in the gas gun open category. So that was a pretty good performance, but unfortunately I couldn't get that on video because I was first up for this blind stage and nobody could come up to video me. Here we're taking a look at Josh. I know he's in an Isuzu, but he was definitely riding the struggle bus for this stage, and this stage was very difficult. The blind factor wasn't too difficult. They gave us enough information, and we've all shot this kind of bowling alley before to know where the targets should be. They did give us the ranges for the targets. The targets were camouflaged, which made it a little bit difficult. Normally you're shooting white steel plates or that have been grayed out, so a little bit of camo on the targets, black and green paint made it a little challenging. But what makes this stage really difficult, besides the lack of stability inside the Isuzu, getting in that kind of old rotted out seat, using that as a barricade, the thing that's really difficult is if you miss, you get no feedback. There's no dirt mounds behind these targets, there's just wood. So your bullet is zooming past, and without the sun behind us or anything else to indicate where you're missing, not being able to see trace, this can be very difficult if you are not getting your hits. We can also see Josh struggling to get his pistol out from the seated position. Again, not picking on you, Josh, but I always hate when I'm about to do a drive-by and I can't get my gun out. Here there were 3 camouflage targets in the woods. That white target is indeed a no-shoot, which would incur penalties if you hit it. Now we're getting a look at Tommy inside the Isuzu, and you can see that he is making a lot of adjustments. A lot of people had troubles getting comfortable and stable on that back seat. Tommy didn't have a great stage here. After talking to him, he just said, I couldn't get stable. And this really perplexed me because all of my 3 buddies that are here in this video all struggled with stability on this back seat. For some reason, whatever magical position I chose ended up working well for me, or maybe I'm just heavy enough that I bottomed out the shocks on this thing and that little trooper wasn't moving at all. So Tommy ultimately adjusted here and started getting some good hits and was able to make it to pistol. but unfortunately taking some penalties, not finishing the stage, and only finishing third in bolt gun overall for this stage, which probably hurt him in the final standings against Patrick. As a quick side note, this photographer here is Rhett Bingham. Besides having the coolest name on the planet, he is a really good photographer, always at these matches. Go check out his website if you're in the Southeast. Amazing photographer, rhettbingham.com. Go check it out. Now we see Patrick going, obviously sticking with his position, maybe not feeling as comfortable as he indicated to me verbally after the stage, but definitely getting his hits. As you can see, those target flashers ringing out downrange. The furthest target we had here was around 500 yards, and the closest around 200 yards. They were small and in odd positions, and once you got the hang of it, you just had to run it through twice, ditch your gun, and then transition to the front through the windshield for the pistol. Look at him run that bolt gun, as I said before, running it real fast, real smooth, staying dialed in and focused. Good job here. I was able to edge out Patrick overall, but you know, that's still slightly embarrassing for a gas gunner to barely be able to beat Patrick on the bolt gun. He did end up edging me out by one position overall in this match, which just shows you how good of a shooter he is there. There you can see those camo pistol targets in the woods, him clocking those out, transitioning to the side for the final 3 pistol targets. Nice.
Clear.
Now let's take a look at Josh on the Sniper's Hide stage. This was an interesting stage. The match director, Chad Wiley, usually has a no prone position rule. Not really a rule, but making the match so that it doesn't lend itself to shooting prone. As he always says, Mother Nature doesn't let you go prone, and I totally agree with that. However, during this stage, there was an opportunity to go prone with the rear bag. There were 6 targets, and it was a really wide field of view on this range. So we had probably discussed for 10 or 15 minutes between Tommy and Josh and I, should we rear bag it or not. Looking at the range of the targets, I decided that since max, they were only about 400 yards, I was just going to put a bag on that barricade when I was laying in the prone and not use a bipod and a rear bag, because I know that would be faster. That was a little bit of risk, but I do think that paid off for me. Now, Josh certainly having a strong performance here. As you see, we had to shoot those 6 targets from 2 different positions, and then, you know, get our slow behinds out of the Sniper's Hide to shoot these pistol targets, which had to be like 60 to 80 yard 3 pistol shots, as you can see him here. Josh is shooting a really cool 2011. Can't remember the name of it. Kind of a custom build. Really awesome, and he is a great pistol shooter. So overall, really great stage here for Josh, but potentially sacrificing a little bit of speed by using that bipod and rear bag, finishing 12th out of 69 overall on this stage.
Very nice. He got a round of applause.
Now we're looking at a bolt gun head-to-head between Patrick and Tommy on this stage, and you can see that Patrick was bagged up on that barricade, whereas Tommy did go with the bipod and the rear bag. Now what's interesting here is I thought that Tommy was going to be a little bit slower than Patrick, but again, reviewing the footage, you can see that Patrick was not moving that much faster, so maybe the position of having the bipod and the rear bag was not slowing down as much, and maybe the extra stability was helping Tommy find the targets here. They were shaded, and like I said, a really wide field of view ranging from like 100 yards under shaded trees out to 400 or 500 yards. And having that wide field of view with those targets in a grass field up against the tree line was really difficult to find. Having good target reference points and making sure you're doing fast transitions and not losing that target and then searching for it through the glass is absolutely critical. So overall, pretty good head-to-head here. Intense matchup from 2 of my buddies running the bolt guns, but Patrick was able to edge out Tommy, even though they both took penalties, and take first in bolt gun for this stage. Some important context as we watch them head to head is that they are both gunning for first in the overall series. The TSS DMR Series allows your highest 4 matches for the year to accrue a point score, and not only can you win this match, but you can win the entire series, which obviously would be a great honor. So both of these guys are gunning for that top spot. It's anybody's game throughout this match. Now, I was able to finish okay on this stage, coming in 6th overall and 3rd in gas gun open category. Now, I want to point out something that I did here that I think helped. As you can see me, a bigger guy fighting that sniper shade. That thing was pulled really tight across, and I took a second to actually take my hat off because the little button on top of my hat was getting caught in that net. Now, normally this voice will creep up in the back of my head and say it's going to be fine, and then I'll run it and then it won't be fine. However, I listened to that voice, or I suppressed that voice this time, took my hat off so that my bald head would smoothly rub against that camo netting and not get stuck. My scope got stuck. My scope caps were getting stuck in that net, so it was difficult enough to put my big body up there on the barricade. However, I ran this stage really fast, faster than anybody else in my squad, coming in around 78 seconds. But again, only topping out at 6th overall against the 69 other shooters, which didn't really help me gain that many points. Overall, did pretty well here, transitioning from targets very quickly, even though they're in the shade. And that is due to my neuroticism around getting really good target reference points and running through a mental manual rehearsal with, air gunning with my hand while everybody else is shooting. That helped me go from speed real quick. Seeing the pistol here, my pistol shooting has been getting worse because I'm trying to go faster and faster, but ended up finishing it off through sheer volume of fire. Now, not exactly a directly timed matchup here, but you'll see I end up catching up to Josh. This stage was interesting. We had 10 targets to hit, and there was a 10 round per magazine limit. There wasn't an overall round count limit, but we could only have 10 rounds per mag. The fastest mag change is the one that you don't have to do, so obviously there was an incentive to get 100% hits on this stage, starting out with a close 100-ish yard target and then transitioning to a 400-yard plus target with a no shoot in front of it. This was pretty challenging with, again, targets being camouflaged and in shaded tree spots with a relatively wide field of view out on the range. That top rail was stable as hell, so I was able to get my shots off and not have to do a mag change. Obviously, Josh having to do a mag change here killed him, adding a lot of extra time, which is unfortunate. Now, this was a really good stage for myself here, and I want to point out a couple of things that you'll see me do throughout the match, and that's popping my head up after each rifle shot for these difficult stages where you need to find a good target reference point, and then bagging the pistol, getting a really high hit ratio on pistol with a no-shoot penalty target in front of the final pistol as a hostage target. Overall, I took the fastest time of the day on this stage across the whole field of shooters, which made me really proud, and I'm happy that I was able to deliver on 100% hit ratio. Now for our last stage of this video, we're taking a look at Patrick again, absolutely demolishing the field of gas gun shooters with his bolt gun. He ended up first in bolt gun category on this stage and 3rd overall. Look at him run that bolt and find the next target, pulling off the next shot. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast comes to mind here. Getting those hits is more important than shooting as fast as you can. Finding the right mix of both is obviously critical. So Patrick here already back to shooting the targets the second time. Can't miss. Look at that form. Look at the beauty of him squeezing that trigger, running that bolt, and absolutely just crushing it. So good job to Patrick. He ended up beating me overall in this match, again, which slightly embarrassing me and slightly awesome for him to beat so many gas gun shooters with a bolt gun. Finished up on pistol. If you heard earlier, he was talking about bagging that pistol like we were all starting to do, and I think that really clicked for him here, finishing him off at about 60 seconds.
So this was it's funny, we had a three-way tie going into this match with bolt guns. Then we created a three-way tie for gas gun open after this match. Our first place bolt gun series champion, Mr. Patrick. Where's Patrick?
Yes!
Yeah! Second place bolt gun, Mr. Tommy.
Go get him, Tommy! Yeah!
Third place open, Mr. Mike Morano.
Well, I hope you really enjoyed the match. Overall, Patrick Johnson finished first in bolt gun for the match and the series. He really cleaned up this match and did a great job. Tommy Butler coming in at a strong second. I really enjoyed the head-to-head and know that they're going to be going at it again next year in the series. I was able to finish in third overall for the match, in third gas gun open for the match and the series, unfortunately dropping down one slot. But, you know, these matches, you're really against yourself, not competing against other people. You're competing against yourself, and then at the end of the day, seeing how your score stacks up. And I must say, the two guys that beat me were just better shooters throughout the year and on this day. So there's not much I can complain about. Overall, I'm happy with my performance and how far I've grown this year. Looking forward to another season. I'll be having some more videos coming out on lessons learned and how to be a better DMR shooter. And hope you enjoyed this match footage, seeing how we do things down in the Southeast, seeing how Chad Wiley and Sarah Wiley run great matches for the TSS DMR matches. Come out and shoot DMR. It's my favorite, absolute favorite discipline. No matter what gun you got, what rifle, what skills, it doesn't matter. Get out there and do it. We will help you get on target. It's such an amazing group of people. So hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed the DMR season finale, and we'll look forward to more gun builds, more training skills, training drills to get your rounds on target more efficiently, faster, get you more hits. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time on The Long Shot. Take care.